I think.
So I'm coming from a culture where I just thought there was one appearance and kind of all things there went, and then I discovered that there was 11. I'm like, oh my word, what else don't I think? So that would be where that question. No, I would be that kid. You know, if you've got 40 days and Jesus is in a resurrected, glorified body that's veiled, right? Because I mean, it couldn't go around glowing and
Scaring everybody.
yeah, and all that. So he's veiled. He's in a glorified body, right? He's been dead, raised. He's been changed. So what did he do at nighttime for 40 days?
Why 40 days?
Okay.
Well, traditionally, it's the number of testing. I don't know where they get that from, but.
Yeah, and Pentecost feast, Passover, a lot of different things. We get into the feast and whatnot. But did Jesus just walk the hills by himself and then appear? Because I mean, he appeared in the middle of a room, so he could walk through walls. Right? He appeared to the road to Emmaus, like he just appeared.
He didn't even need to walk, really.
Right? I mean, so you have all this. So I'm like, what? How many ascensions were there? Okay, so I'm just going to close. Oh, Dusty, you had a question before I get going?
No, I was just wondering, I was thinking of that song, Walk the Hills. So I wonder if that's where it comes from.
Okay, must be before my time.
I've never heard
You don't know that song?
You have to Google it.
you can sing it.
Well, I
Is
don't
this
know.
about Jesus walking the hills, or?
It's not even
Okay.
called Walk the Hills, but
Okay.
there's one line in the
There's a
song.
phrase in
Walk the
there,
Hills.
okay.
So just at the start, where you see Resurrection Day, can you write Hebrews 9, 11 to 15? Just write it Resurrection Day. Just make a new column, because number one, Jesus appears to Mary Magdalene, and to do with the ascensions, you've got the entire narrative of the Old Testament pointing towards what? Jesus dying on the cross and shedding his blood to pay for sin. Okay? Is that something that once Jesus had died and he paid the price, like his blood was spilled, is that something that would just be postponed for 40 days until his ascension in Acts 1 or the end of Luke? Or is that something that immediately was applied to the heavenly mercy seat? Okay? That's where I would part too. I mean, the whole program of God's positional justification through the shedding of blood, his son's blood, right, was pointing towards the cross, and it took place, and I'm still not sure how, because his blood was all poured out so that he gathered up some of it right on his way up. All right, but let's just go to Hebrews chapter 9, and I'll send you home with some homework. I'd be interested to see if you were to have these conversations with Edward, to see if he's processed through that as well, because I know I didn't catch a lot of that in school. Hebrews 9, verse 11. But Christ came as high priest of the good things to come, with the greater and more perfect tabernacle, not made with hands, that is not of this creation. Not with the blood of goats and calves, but with his own blood, he entered the most holy place once for all, having obtained eternal redemption. Now, we know, if we were to study through Hebrews 9, verse 9, explains that the earthly tabernacle, right, and the temple model was a symbolic representation of the heavenly one. okay? The throne room of God. So it's symbolic, the earthly one. So Jesus didn't go into the temple. He went into the most holy place, the throne room of God. Okay? He entered the most holy place before God in heaven once for all, having obtained eternal redemption. For the blood of bulls and goats and ashes of a heifer, sprinkling the unclean, sanctifies the purity of the flesh. How much more shall the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without spot, cleanse your conscience from dead works to serve the living God? So Christ, I'm almost opened in too much. Just come over to verse 24, the same chapter.
So they end up burning a red heifer?
Yeah, that's the model. And they will, just prior to the Messianic kingdom, I believe. Verse 24, for Christ has not entered the holy places made with hands, which are the copies of true, but into heaven itself, now to appear in the presence of God for us. So my proposal here, and I think it's on good solid ground, is that when God raised his Son, after that 3 days, he went to the heavenly, most holy place, throne room of God, and applied his blood to the heavenly mercy seat. Does that make sense?
I'm sorry, but why? Why does he take his blood from here to heaven? Why?
Because
Blood is the only,
that was God's plan.
and that was the price.
So in the Old Testament, you know the Ark of the Covenant, and you had the cherubim, right, the gold box, the God's presence. Once a year, the high priest would apply blood to the mercy seat, which was in between there, for atonement. Okay? That ark, earthly, is a symbol or a model after the heavenly one. And last verse, I promise. Let's go to Revelation 11:19. Revelation 11:19. Okay, so where does Indiana Jones have to go to find the ark?
All over the place.
Well, it says right here where it is.
In heaven.
Then the temple of God opened in the heavens, and the ark of his covenant was seen in his temple. You see it? Revelation 11:19? No, this is the heavenly, but I mean, it's so the mercy seat, the heavenly mercy seat, the most holy place in the throne room of God, Jesus applied his own blood to the mercy seat once for all. Right? No more sacrifices needed. All sin is paid for. All someone, like past, present, future sin is paid for. All someone has to do is by faith apply that blood to their account. Okay? But then my question is, when did he do that? Was that 40 days after God raised him? Like, hold on, son, you hold on to that blood, keep it refrigerated, you know, like we know the whole Old Testament pointed towards it, right? Or was it God raised him, and that sin was, or that blood was applied, sin was paid for, and then he come back? Yeah, no, we don't have concrete, but it would make sense, and I have a number of scholars behind that proposal.
Two.
Two?
I said
More
more
than
than
two.
two.
Yeah, more than two.
Because two wasn't enough for me.
Were your sources on Facebook?
They were on
Google.
the Israel, one for Israel.
Okay.
They're pretty legit.
So, do we see why that's important? Right, as we work through that? Cool? Alright, I'm done. I'm done. You got lots to go home and read. And
So am I. ha ha ha.